Then we move over. The next one on my list that I have as far as rankings would be Kyle Trask. So good old Kyle
Future
Trask.
Bears quarterback.
Oh God, please don't.
Do you hate that idea?
So okay, so I was actually surprised at my yes, he is second lowest on this ranking as far as quarterbacks go, and I believe I have 7 quarterbacks that I reviewed. So he is ranked sixth on this list of 7. Yes, he is intriguing. My only issue with him, or I think I 8 quarterbacks, so he's number 7 on the list. He's intriguing. He just is inconsistent. That's really the biggest issue. So what I have some notes on. So one, he's as you can see right there on the board, he's 6'5". He came measured in at 236, hand size of 10 and 1/8, which is good size. Uh, he's got the prototypical pocket passing with a little bit of athleticism like form.
Yeah.
So, anyways, yeah, I just don't feel confident enough with Kyle Trask. I do think though that he does have starter potential and a like decent starter potential. He's just a project. He's just somebody that you're gonna have to sit for a year or two and develop. And like if you actually develop him well, I think you could develop him into something. I just don't think that it's as high potential wise as anybody else above him on the list. But I do think that in my like I was surprised happily by the throws that I was seeing. So things I wrote down. The one thing he did throw a clean ball, and what I mean by a clean ball is when you see a tight spiral going into the receiver. Tight spiral is easier to catch. When you don't throw a clean ball, a little harder to catch. Just kind of a little thing. It's not that big of a deal, but throwing a nice clean ball is what you see out of like the Tom Brady's, the Peyton Mannings, all those type of quarterbacks, Aaron Rodgers. So that is a little iffy. Now, he did have some zip on his throws. So again, kind of line driving some balls. Those are good on like hitch routes, timing routes, out routes, in routes, slants, things like that, where the ball needs to get out of your hand pretty quick. It needs to get to the receiver quickly in order to catch the defender off guard or catch him in that 1 second where the defender is behind him. So that's interest. That's good. That's a mark for him. He did have some touch as well. I did see some touch on some plays on some balls that he threw where I did go, wow, that was a pretty throw. He didn't do it consistently enough. He did it a little bit more consistently, obviously, than Jamie Newman. That's why he's a little higher on this list. But he definitely didn't do it consistently enough in order for me to be confident in him stepping in and being a starter or anything like that. Hence why I basically said that he's kind of a project, and I think he has to sit a year or two. He is inconsistent a little bit with the ball placement across the middle of the field. So a couple of his throws across the middle of the field, he threw either behind the guy, a little bit ahead of him, a little low, sometimes a little high. It wasn't just in the pocket of the receiver, which is, right here, pretty much mid chest. That's kind of where you're trying to aim for pretty much every time that you throw the ball. He just didn't do that consistently enough over the middle of the field, which is it should be a little easier for players because you're throwing straight ahead rather than throwing across your body or to the right. Uh, he did throw sideline balls pretty well, so out routes, things like that, hitches and everything that were kind of towards the sideline. He did throw them pretty well, flag routes. So that was at least a little bit of promising. He had some good timing there. And then he did throw decently well on the move and across his body, he was pretty accurate. So again, those are some of kind of the marks, but I do think that because of his inconsistency in throwing accurate passes across the middle of the field as well as accurate deep throws, his arm talent's not going to blow you away, that's for sure. But it's definitely good enough to be a starter. I just think he's a project. I think if he's developed the right way, I think you definitely have a good base for a quarterback who could develop in the NFL. It just is going to take the right place. So, like, I would love to see him on like the Colts or something like that, where he goes and sits behind Carson Wentz, is able to learn for a year or two, and then
Oh
maybe
my
the
God, do
Colts.
we want him learning from Carson Wentz though?
Well, not learning from Carson Wentz, but developing in the team. Like
Yeah,
I'd love to see him in the place like the Colts, where
Frank
he can sit
Reich.
behind a guy, or like the Buccaneers, for instance. Like the Buccaneers would be great for him to sit behind Tom Brady and learn for like a year or two.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I feel like he is. My
Who do you
next,
think will get him? I don't know if you want to do that part.
who do I think will go for him? I don't know. It's too early on like like the hype around players. Generally, when it gets closer to the draft, you can kind of tell what teams are really going to be desperate for a quarterback day 2. He's definitely a day 2 quarterback in my opinion. So round 2 is where he's going to go. I just don't know what team that'll be because round 2 allows for some teams that are really talented to have a quarterback to get kind of cute with a pick and pick a quarterback that might be a backup that'll end up developing into a starter when that quarterback leaves. So, again, like the Buccaneers wouldn't surprise me if they picked him in the second round, or the Colts picking him in the second or third round. That wouldn't surprise me. It's just, it's hard to tell right now unless we get closer to the draft, in which then there's like some really hype around these guys. So,
Oh.
yeah, I don't want to play that game just yet, but
Yeah.
we'll say that enough. So